I forget how to do this. It's been a hot second. As you can tell by the title, this is a story about how I basically survived a school shooting. The story takes place my first semester at community college. Like, I literally graduated high school, it was the summer, and my first college experience. I believe it happens like around November, so about a year ago. The morning before it happened, I like had this gut feeling telling me like, don't go to class today. You know when you kind of have that instinctual feeling like something bad is going to happen? I had that feeling, I kind of just ignored it, and I ended up going to class anyway. I show up to my math class. I think it was like a 1:30 to 3:15, something like that type of class. This class, like, it's sucked to begin with, if I'm being honest. Not that it was hard, it was that like the professor was kind of like strange. She was an interesting one, and we had a test, the class after that current class. We were reviewing for the test. Why can I not say that word? And all of a sudden this alarm goes off. Now this is an alarm that I have never heard before. You know how when you're in high school you do fire drills and you practice for stuff like that? We did have drills for like if somebody was in the school with a gun, but there was never an alarm, ever. It was just everybody would get a phone call, I think it was. I don't remember high school. So this alarm goes off and nobody knows what it means at all. It was very, very loud, and as this alarm is like going off like really, really loud, there's a voiceover, and the voice is saying, "This is not a drill. Take shelter right now. Like, lock your doors, lock your windows, shut your blinds, turn your lights off. This is not a drill." And it just keeps repeating, "This is not a drill." So like as this alarm is going off and this voice just keeps repeating, "This is not a drill," everybody starts to panic. My professor doesn't think anything of it, doesn't lock the doors, doesn't turn off the lights, and we're all just like, "Girl, what you doing?" The alarm went on for I want to say about like 5 minutes. It was pretty terrifying, pretty eerie. This one woman who was sitting in the back of the classroom got up and went to the back window, and she opened the blinds and she was like, "Holy shit, there are cops everywhere." So at this point, no one in my class has any idea what's happening. This alarm just scared the shit out of everybody, and now there are cops everywhere outside. Everybody's just like complete like panic state of mind, like nobody knows what's happening. Some people were calling their parents, trying to text them like what was happening. Some people were using social media, looking up like the college's name to see if anybody was tweeting about what was happening, and so far like nothing. Like we literally knew absolutely nothing. We're all freaking out, but my professor this is what makes this whole situation a lot crazier. My professor ignored the alarm. So once the alarm stopped, she was like, "Oh, okay, so whatever's happening must be over," and keeps reviewing for this test. Doesn't lock the doors, doesn't turn off the little like presentation she has, doesn't shut off the lights. Like, we're all just sitting here like in shock. Like, is she serious right now? Like, I still to this day like have no words. We could have all been dead like, because she would not lock the doors. Eventually a kid who was in my class found some information on Twitter. Somebody tweeted saying that if you're at this campus right now, basically there's a girl upstairs in, I'm gonna say building 4, which happened to be the building we were in. She's in the bathroom upstairs screaming, "I have a gun and I'm going to shoot you all." Our professor still refused to lock the doors. So, we're all just kind of sitting there like, "Hey, you should lock those doors because there's a high possibility, as far as we all know at the moment, that we could be dead within 10 minutes. So lock the doors." And she kept saying, "I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. You guys have a test on Thursday. We need to review." Okay. So then a girl who was sitting in the back of my classroom got fed up, gets up, locks the doors herself, goes and sits back down, and the professor goes and unlocks the door. The girl who got up to lock the door was like, "What the fuck are you doing? Like, as far as we know, there is a girl with a gun in this building and you're just going to keep the doors unlocked? Wow, that sounds like a really good idea." Then she keeps teaching and we're all like, "You need to," like this went on for like at least 20 minutes. Like she kept trying to teach. At one point we're all like, "You need to stop. Like, you really need to stop." And we started arguing with her, and then eventually like she was like, "Oh, fine, we'll lock the doors." Good. That's what you're supposed to do. So we lock the doors and we all get in the corner, like you're supposed to do in a situation like that. And this one older woman got up and looked outside again, and the cops she had seen earlier were still walking around campus, and they all had these big rifles on them. There's this one girl who was kind of having a mental breakdown. Now, I didn't really know this girl at all, but I felt really bad for her. Like, I didn't know her, but she was hysterically crying, so I kept trying to like comfort her, like in the not weirdest way possible. Like, I didn't want to like hug her because like she didn't know me, but like I just remember I kept telling her like it's gonna be okay, like reassuring her like it'll be fine, not like I'm sure it's nothing, it's probably just a hoax. I want to say about like 40 minutes after like this whole thing happened, we hear a knock on the door, and we're all just sitting there in the dark, kind of like, oh, okay. Instead of, you know, not answering the door like a normal person would in a situation like that, my professor goes and unlocks the door and lets the person in. Now, for all we know, this could have been the alleged shooter. In what world did you think this was okay in a situation like this? But she did. She let the people in. To everybody's relief, it was 2 cops, and they walked in, they asked if everybody was okay, and they didn't really explain what was going on. They just wanted to make sure we were all okay. And we all said we were, and they said they had the situation handled and we could go back to doing whatever we were doing. And then they left. So we all like sigh, relieved, kind of, still very confused, not knowing if what we saw on Twitter was true, not knowing really what had happened, and it was very confusing. We're all just kind of like, hey, like, what's up? What's happening? So then, as soon as they said that, they leave, and my professor goes and she starts lecturing again. And all of us are just like, is she kidding me? Like, is she really like that like concerned about a test in a situation like that? I was just kind of like, all right, enough is enough. Like, I know what I'm doing on this test. Like, after that, I'm not gonna sit here and listen to you talk for another however long it is. So I got my shit, I got up and left, and a bunch of people started following me. I guess they felt the same way. Everybody was kind of like a little timid, like you could tell, like walking out, everybody went to their cars and leaving, like there was a bunch of traffic, you could tell everybody was just like over it. And then about like a day later, there was a news article about it. Basically, what had actually happened was there was a girl in the building I was in the bathroom upstairs, and she was screaming at these 2 other girls who were in the bathroom, saying, I have a gun and I'm not afraid to shoot it. So she was yelling that, but turns out she didn't actually have a gun. She was just saying that. That's all I really know, to be honest. I still don't know the full story. I don't know if she got arrested. Like, I tried looking into it, but there wasn't really much online. It was scary in the moment, and it was an experience I'm never gonna forget, especially because of the way my professor handled it. And honestly, I think that's the main reason I'm telling the story, is because it's just crazy to me how my professor handled that situation. Like, there was an alarm saying this is not a drill, like lock your doors, and she just kept teaching. Like, I don't know, that's just crazy to me. Like, what was going through her mind? It's just beyond me. I just thought that was an interesting story, and yes, the title is somewhat clickbait, but not really. Subscribe if you want to hear more stories, or if you want to see some vlogs, because I'm going to start Vlogmas again this December, which I'm very excited for. So stay tuned for that, and I will see you guys when I decide to make another video.